Shalom, shalom, friends, and I'm glad you are with us once again on a Tuesday afternoon as we're here together for just a few minutes. And I want to bring to you today something very special. It's actually part of a discussion we're going to be having later this evening via in person and in Zoom here at the synagogue. It's about a book that we've read together called Einstein and the Rabbi. And it's a powerful book written by Rabbi Naomi Levy. And Rabbi Levy gives us a quotation in a letter written by Einstein. And here's the letter, or this quotation that she brings to us. Here's what Einstein writes. A human being is part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. The striving to free oneself from this delusion is one issue of true religion. Not to nourish the delusion, but to try and overcome it is the way to reach the attainable measure of peace of mind. Now, there's a lot there, and obviously, if you want to unpack the entire little sentence, then you'll have to read the book. But or maybe listen to our discussion later tonight. But in essence, what Einstein is saying here is that we are all part of a greater whole, all things. And it's a delusion that we are separate beings. And that delusion of being that we're separated from everything else in the world, for Einstein, he recognizes is a cause of pain, confusion, and loneliness. So who was Einstein writing these words to? Einstein was writing these words to a rabbi. And the rabbi, as it turns out, and as we find out in this little volume called Einstein and the Rabbi himself was a fairly remarkable person who had been in the military and served admirably in taking care of orphans after World War II. But he wrote to Einstein following the death of his own child. Now, here was this man, a rabbi, a spiritual leader, a man steeped in the tradition of Judaism, and yet he, in his pain, felt that he needed to reach out to a man of science to try and grapple with the loss and the loneliness that he felt after his son's passing. And what does Einstein reply? Einstein replies, we're all part of the same universe. We're all part of the matter of this universe. We are not disconnected from one another. There's nothing that separates us. What he was telling this rabbi, in essence, was that he is still connected, still part of his son's life, because the essence of his son is wrapped up in the matter of the universe that we live in, and we're part and parcel of that universe. Our molecules, our electrons, our very being is part of this universe, this star matter that makes up our being. And Einstein recognized and was assuring this rabbi, we're not disconnected. We're not separate. You haven't lost anything because you're part of a system that is a whole. And even though religion has much to teach us, we may miss this message in thinking about the stories or the rules. But the truth of the matter is, what is our tradition wanting to share with us? It's wanting to share with us how we are part of one whole creation. Not just the creation of Earth, but the creation of the universe. We're part of that wholeness. Rabbi Levi calls it our soul. Our soul is what is connecting us to this eternal universe. Our soul, our eternal soul. In Judaism, is part of something that's much bigger, that existed before we were born and exists after we are no longer alive on this earth. That's our Jewish teaching. And appreciating that and understanding that and speaking a little bit about that soul, I think, is something we often fail to do. Fail to consider how our faith wants to reinforce for us that we're part of this whole big system. In fact, I would go so far as to say all the stories, all the biblical drama that is a part of us is really just there to underscore to us that even though that happened a long time ago, ages ago, it's inside of us. It's part of us. It's part of our very being, of who we are. And even though on a timeline it seems far away, in terms of matter and electrons and molecules and the way our universe works, as Einstein would tell you, time and space, it's all connected. It's all part of one big system. And so that we are part of that system. And we tell these stories as if they happened a long time ago, but they're happening to us now. They're inside of us. The stories are us. There's a lot more that Rabbi Levi says about this story, and it turns out that even though there was no more correspondence between Einstein and this rabbi, that investigating the rabbi's life and his impact turned out to be a fascinating research project for Rabbi Levi, and she shares with us that project. And at the end of it, we come away wondering about how a man who wrote that letter, who had done so much in the world and who had given faith to so many, how he could have been so pained and sad and needed Einstein's help to rediscover what is the truth inside of himself, the truth of our universe, about our connectedness, and about how we gain comfort from knowing that we're never really apart. We're never really alone. We're part of something greater, much greater than we could ever even imagine. Thank you for being with us. We're going to conclude, as we do every week, with a small prayer, and I'll talk about prayer a little bit tonight. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabam. B'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich machutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. B'agalav v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabam v'varach le'olam le'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbawar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yidadar, v'yidalev, v'yidalal, shemei dekudisha barichu. Li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'ama v'imru ameim. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amein. Aseh shalom b'imramavu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amein. Thank you, friends, for being with us. We'll see you again next week.